Adibai. I just want to be assured that we are all together if you are hearing me. So I think, do you have just
Yeah.
one part here?
Yes, it's just one participant we have here.
For today? Okay.
Yeah.
The rest of us are mentors. Okay, that's great. Okay. Sorry. So I'm trying to share my screen so you can see what we have together for today. Can you see my screen? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Oh. Fine. So a few minutes, please. There's an error here.
No problem.
Maybe you should just use that time. No, please. Maybe you should just use that time to wait for the rest of us. Just like 5 minutes, please. I think I have to comment.
Okay.
I have to comment now. I was trying to use the phone before.
Okay.
Please, just like 5 minutes so I can catch up the file. I'm trying to clean up the file for the presentation. Okay, just 5 minutes.
Okay. Our tutors in the house, how are you guys doing? Mr. Adebayo.
I'm with you. I'm here.
How are you doing?
Oh, great piece. I'm doing great. I'm doing fine. Ben, so I
Now
see you. Actually, I was engaged when you called my name. I see you.
Mr. Tope, how are you? Hello, Mr. Tope. Mr. Tope. Mr. Blessing, how are you doing? How is school life?
I'm doing good.
I'm fine.
And how is
Okay.
your project going?
It's going on, ma. Thank you, ma.
Hope you are making progress. Positive progress.
Yes.
That's good. That's great. Mr. Tope. Mr. Tope, are you shy? Please, let's just give Benson a few minutes to get his slide and start.
Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. But I think, can you all see me? Like the other part, I think it's only the screen you're seeing. Please, can you able to confirm? Are you seeing me? Or
It's just your screen we're seeing. I can't see your face, just your screen.
okay, let me do that. I think I have problem with displaying myself. Can we just continue? So maybe I'll show myself later.
Okay, no problem. Just
Okay.
continue.
Since the plan for today is just to talk, it's not about saying, but I definitely am going to share my reflex better. Good morning, everyone.
Alright.
Good morning, Mr. Adebayo, Mr. Porim, Mr. Blessing. I think AIT is around. Good morning, and a lot, Miss Blessing. Peace. Sorry, I'm trying to remember. That name is Peace. Good morning, everyone. I hope we are all doing well, doing fine, and I hope we enjoyed the last meeting with the host himself, the person of Mr. Olusoke. And I think last week we started this training, and we tried to tell you guys, what you are going to learn in this training. It is about mentorship 2.0, where we teach undergraduate, postgraduate, and other courses on thesis writing. So that's the basic reason for this program. It's a 7 weeks program, and today, thank God, we're on the day 2. So I will be the speaker for today. My name is Benson Okorie. This has said a lot about me, so I don't know where that one came from, but I feel that's something about me. That's even more than what I should say. So I will be the anchor for today's class. And briefly, please, can you take the record? Because Oloshik is not around, so I don't know how to do that. Can you over there? Hello?
Yes, I am. It's recording it. It's actually recording it.
Okay, thank you. So today I will be taking you guys on the basic. I'll be taking you guys on the basic types of research gaps, structure of thesis, and the so-called chapter 1. I said earlier that my name is Benson Okorie.
Can see your screen again?
Can you see it again?
Yeah.
Can you see it?
I
Can you
can
see
see
it
your
now?
screen.
Who else cannot see my screen?
I also cannot see your
Adebayo,
screen. Like, I can't see your screen.
can you? Eh?
I can't see it. I can't see your screen.
Oh.
But please,
Nico, can you see his screen?
please.
I can see
I
it.
don't know.
Yes, I can see.
Like, I don't know. I have the app, but it's not connecting. So that's why I'm
Yeah, I can
using the
actually
phone.
see your screen. Oh. Blessing, can you
Who
see
else
his
can
screen?
see my Blessing?
I can see
Blessing,
your
please,
screen.
unmute yourself. Can you see my screen?
I can see your screen. Yes, I can see it.
Yes,
Yes,
so,
I can see
Mr. Adebayo, maybe it's your phone or something, your device. Okay, I'll switch you to the next slide. Can you see it?
No,
You can't see
it's
it.
still
No.
on that.
It's not
I can't see it.
okay,
Yes, you can see it now. You can see it now.
You can see it now. You can see it.
Yes.
Can you see it?
yes.
Okay, can we continue?
Yes.
All right, that's fine. Maybe Adebayo should just look for what happened to his phone. So as I said earlier, I said on today we'll be talking about the basic structure, the basic types of research gaps, structure of thesis, and chapter 1. My name is Benson Okorie. I am part of the co-tutors for this program. So briefly, this is just the outline of what we are going to study today. It's just the breakdown of 3 sections. I have 3 sections in which I'm going to discuss. The first one is the basic types of research gap in thesis writing. I have the introduction part. I have how we can identify those gaps in our dissertation or a thesis. And I'll be talking briefly on the types of research gaps that we have, the basic types of research gaps that we have. And on the second section, we will be talking about the structure of text, how it should look like, how your undergraduate thesis should be format for you to write it, starting from the front page down to the reference page. Today, I'm going to discuss about that. And the main other parts should be the chapter 1 and how chapter 1 is being structured. So follow me on this part as I hope you are going to learn what one or two in this time. Thank you. I will be starting with the section 1, which is the basic types of research gaps in thesis writing. We all understand what a thesis is. You want to write a thesis, you should understand, okay, what exactly is the word thesis? What exactly is dissertation? What exactly is my project report? What exactly is my seminar report? All those things is what you are expected to know. By my own definition here, I can say following working definition. He defined thesis as a comprehensive research document that presents an argument. The word comprehensive matters. In an undergraduate, sometimes that we just have to write and submit a term paper. We submit seminar reports, just 10 pages, 5 pages, assignment. So the word thesis is different from those documents. It's a comprehensive document that presents an argument. It might be an argument that presents an argument, analysis, interpretation of that analysis. So it should be a voluminous context, like the volume should be high. Our presenter said it on the first time that for undergraduate, it is expected for the body of your research thesis to be around 40 to 60. I don't know, maybe you can still remember. So it's different from you submitting an assignment, it's different from you submitting a seminar report. So for a thesis should be a comprehensive document. We are going to have varieties of sections like your chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5, depending on how we are working on. So I defined a thesis as a comprehensive research document that presents an argument, analysis, interpretation based on original research and evidence. That word means that you're talking about a research that was done before. Maybe you want to read, you have documentation. Typically submitted. Here is what the word says. We are doing okay. Why are we doing thesis? Why are we doing all these things? It's just for you to submit it to fulfill what your requirement for a master's program from an undergraduate or a doctoral degree. So the reason why you are writing a thesis, your undergraduate research work, now it's just for what? Because you want to graduate. It's a requirement for what your undergraduate degree. Now you're in future, you want to by God grace, maybe your convocation is December this year and you've not finished your project. Let me tell you something. You can't graduate because you have not finished. You have not gotten that requirement. The complete 100% requirement in total. So undergraduate project is part of what the requirement for you to be certified. That word. And the undergraduate that I know in total has, I think it's 6 units for that department, maybe some department 8. So that without your project, you cannot be certified. You get so, and this process of knowing what a thesis is and you embarking on writing an undergraduate project, it leads us to what we all know that it leads us to what we know as research gap. So it helps us to identify what a research gap is. So the word research gap is what we are going to discuss today. A research gap is, if you see the picture I displayed by this word and behind this word here, you will see 5 men are trying to they are trying to move from one section to the other. You can see the arrow, the ladder that is carrying them, and the pencil. So by interpretation, they need to do what? They need to fill this gap so that they can proceed to the next junction. The same thing our research thesis also. In research thesis, you must do what? Identify a gap, a loophole that you need to do what? You need to fill. You don't just write thesis based on what they have written already and you write. most times what they do in schools these days, in some schools, but I believe it's not in FUTA and some other good schools, undergraduate research are no more undergraduate research. They are no more because they just go online to just fetch topics, fetch articles, and sit down at home and write. I'm a good writer. If a person, someone like that should come to me, we can sit and formulate something. But that's not what undergraduate research is all about. What undergraduate research is all about is you trying to improve on the existing research that has been done before. And how do you achieve that? You achieve that by going online to seek information. Okay, this is what this is what has been done by Mrs. Peace already. What way can you improve what Mrs. Peace has done in your own way? That is what we call research. You try to do what you try to check the gap that's involved, the loophole that has not been touched. Using the picture by the side, you can see those people are trying to move to the other part, but there are some gaps there that need to be filled. This same way applies to your undergraduate study, to your undergraduate project work. You need to do what? You need to fill up any space. If your interest is based on cancer line and you feel that okay, there are a lot of research on cancer line, so you should not do what? You should not follow what they've done before. You should not repeat. Repetition is not allowed. That's not work. That's not research work. You just check, read online, check literature, check the loopholes, the gaps that the person did not fill. Maybe in his own research, he actually used a method, and you feel that okay, if you should try this method, your method give you a more accurate result. That is what we call a research gap. You filling that research gap makes you what? A real scientist or a research person. So not doing what a so-called person has done. So research gap are the core are what they is a missing piece of
Is it just
information.
me? I can't see your ear anything.
You can't see me. Hello? Can you all hear me, please? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. Can you all hear me? Is it loud, please?
I can hear you.
Blessing, please can you hear me?
Mr. Benson, your screen is not moving, number one. And another thing is, I didn't see your face. You are the tutor of the day.
Yeah, I'm trying. I don't know. Like I've been trying to my system. I don't know what happened. I have the software on my system, and it's
You
not
have the
even connected.
software. You can actually
Yeah,
present
on my
through
system. Or can I
browser.
use the
You can present directly through browser now. You don't need to download the software if you are using a system.
maybe that's the mistake I did. This is the first time I'm okay. Let me just try to.
It will ask you to download the app. Then you cancel. You will just subscribe to continue on browser. That is what you will do.
Thank you, sir. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Mr. Benson, let us see your screen. I actually saw your screen at the first entry, which is looking good.
Okay, you're not seeing.
So
Nobody saying. No one notified me. I don't know that you guys are not seeing this.
Yeah, I can see your screen. Oh.
I cannot see your face.
Okay, my face.
Oh,
I can see
that's
the
good.
screen.
Our moderator
Exactly,
too is not showing their face. I don't know what we are scared of.
Just give me. I thought I would be able to do this.
Moderator, what's happening?
Moderator, they say you should let us see your face now.
Moderator.
Yes, I can hear you.
What's happening?
Sorry, I'm coming.
Oh. Is Mr. Benson trying to use the system?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Okay, sir.
I actually think I can use this software. So,
Okay, while Mr. Benson is trying to fix his system and all that, Mr. Blessing, can you hear me? Mr.
Yes,
Benson,
sir.
when you are
Yes,
done, just let me know. Mr. Blessing, can you hear me?
yes, sir.
So after last week, what's the way forward with your work? Have you been able to do something? Have you been able to? You said what?
Yes, sir. I met with Professor Etayo, and he said that there is no time again. I should just go ahead with the work for now. So after then, I followed what Mr. Ayaki said that I should meet with Dr. Adejo. So when I met with Dr. Adejo was like, "There's nothing I can do for now. That all I have is to maybe go and meet Mr. Umar and do one or two things with him, maybe professionally."
To meet who?
Mr. Umar.
Okay.
I said, okay, no problem. So, but already I'm working with Mr. Umar already. So,
Okay, no problem. That's good. That's good. Let's have it. So, Mr. Benson, we are waiting for you. You are keeping us waiting.
I'm still with you guys. I have to change the system.
Ah. Moderator. Our moderator is not talking. What's wrong?
Are you sure she's there?
I don't think so. You have wasted Mr. Benson time. This is almost 10 minutes now without any words. And our participants I have a lot of things to do. Abi, you don't have anything to do. They have, obviously.
Okay, I'm almost there, please.
Are you using is your system Pentium 5?
Yeah.
Okay. No wonder.
Instead of download, get started instead.
Yes, yes. You don't have to download. Just start it through the browser. Mr. Benson, what's happening?
I think it's network right now, but I'm almost it.
Wow.
Sorry.
Hello, everyone.
And you're back.
Oh, yes, I'm back. Apologies for the delay. Oh. Please, let's just be patient with Mr. Benson to set up his system. And Mr. Benson, how far?
Almost there.
All right. Mr. Blessing.
I'm with you, ma.
Okay.
I'm with you, ma.
Okay.
Uh,
So, Benson, are you ready?
the thing is, I think, are you guys seeing my screen? I want to confirm that.
It's your
Like, my
it's still
words.
your phone. we're seeing your phone screen.
I'm having issue with network connected to the PC right now, so I don't know if I should just continue using the phone. So maybe when we are done, you're going to see my face. Normally, if you see my face, me as a presenter, but it's not playing. So,
I think you
Mr.
should just. I think you should just continue with your phone to save time.
Mr.
Or
Chris,
Mr. Christopher, what do you think?
Continue with your phone.
All right, thank you. Please continue, Mr. Benson. Benson,
okay. Can you also see the screen?
yes.
Okay.
The issue is the screen is not moving.
It's not moving like this. Is it still moving?
It's
Yeah,
actually
that's move.
It was moving now. I thought it was moving before. I have to confirm before I started anything. I thought, please confirm that she
moving.
can see it. Can you see it now?
It's moving. Yes, I can see your screen.
Mr. Chris, can you see it?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I feel I should continue. So I should find a way around it soon. Okay. So I spoke about Mr. Blessing. I'm sorry for the delay. My co-tutors, I'm so sorry. We just due to my system malfunctioning, so that's why. So sorry. So can we just continue now? So I spoke briefly about what thesis is. That thesis is a comprehensive research document. It's totally different from you writing a seminar report. It's different from you writing a term paper, an assignment. So it should be of it should be of an high volume. Our host said it at the first time. If you can still remember, that it should have at least 40 to 60 pages talking about the body of the research document, not the sub-bodies, talking about the title page, and like those one does not count. So it's from the chapter 1 to chapter 6. It should be comprehensive, and you should have a minimum of 40 pages. So at this second slide, I highlighted what research gap is. I've highlighted that research gap is you as a researcher, your main focus is for you to get an information, and if the information is not 100% of good context, you can tackle such information. You can add up. For example, if my own work was based um, on malaria parasite, maybe the way I presented the conclusion, you don't agree with it. You can check the gaps that's involved, like the left gaps that I did not touch, and you carry it up. There are some undergraduate research that some supervisors will want some persons to start at first and allow the upcoming batch to conclude with it. So that's one thing about research settings. You must do what you must target a gap for you to say, okay, what you're actually doing, what is an undergraduate project. Some schools, as I said, they don't do anything called research now. All they just do is for them to go online to source for materials and just give supervisors for supervisor, and that's all. So, but I know my school, we do research based on undergraduate. Even though it's small, you must do something. And they try to know that what you are doing has not been something that someone else has done before, because they like publication. You as an undergraduate, it's best for you to publish your work, because it will not be cool if you publish what someone else has published already. So that's the mindset for I want you to have as an undergraduate, and you should know that the finance that you are putting in should not be wasted. So at least some scores should count on your profile. So blessing, as you are working now, just have the mindset of, okay, as I'm writing this thesis, as I'm planning for I want to publish it. So these are the steps that I need in doing that. So you should know what the gap that's involved in the research you are doing. On the next slide, I hope you can see it. Can you see the next slide? Can you confirm? Please confirm that you've seen the next slide, please.
Yes, it is moving.
Okay, it's moving. Okay, before the next slide, I said research gaps are the center for any research, and it does what? It helps the research gap helps us to frame these three things. It helps us to frame our objective of research, our hypothesis, and some relevant questions that are applicable to our research. It also do what? It also helps us in align the structuring on how we can line our research. The next slide, I will be talking on how we can identify the research gap in our thesis. The first I'll be highlighting it will be the first method we use in identifying this is check literature. This first step to identify research gap is to conduct a true and systematic review online. If our first presenter told us that we have a lot of sites that we can use for literature review, you go online, you use Google Scholar, ResearchGate, all to do what? Just to gather journals so that you can compile and get more information. So that's what research does. That's one of the ways in which you can identify a research gap in any research work that you want to embark on. So the other way that we can use in identifying a research gap is the use of frameworks, one of which is Picot's framework. The full interpretation of Picot is population, intervention, comparison, outcome, and time. And this basically used if you are working on health and clinical research, on clinical research. So the other framework that we can use is also SWOT. Basically, you use this one for persons that are involved in management studies and the like. And you can also consult your supervisor if you have gotten a gap. Can tell you because you can based on your research, maybe based on your literature review and the likes, you came across some things that are not clear to you. You can walk up to your supervisor because I believe they have more knowledge in this area than all of us. So they can give you advice. They can narrate the gaps for you well, so that you can really embark on. So they can give you insights, the methods that you feel you can use to fill up those gaps. Okay, so now, oh, sorry, my slide was not moving. Hello. Hello, can you confirm? My slide was on. Hello, can you confirm?
It's
Yes,
moving.
we
It's
are
moving.
seeing the supervisor and peers.
You can contact your supervisor and tell him or her that, okay, this is the area I want to work on and this the existing information. So him and your peers, they might suggest the gaps that they feel that's relevant to this study. So those are the few ways you can use in doing what? In identifying gaps for your research study. I just make mention of what I made mention of you checking literature. Literature help well if you feel that you are far from, if your supervisor is not actually showing more concern about you, or some supervisor will tell you you should go online to check it yourself. So you can use literature review, you can check Google Scholar, ResearchGate, publication, and and the likes. So you can also use frameworks such as Picot and SWOT for analysis. So briefly, we'll be talking, I will be highlighting the basic research gaps that we have. We have the theoretical, we have the methodological research, we have evidence, we have practical, we have knowledge gap, we have population gaps, we have conceptual gaps. So the first one, I'll be discussing the theoretical gap. This lines with the area where there is lack of theoretical understanding or where existing theory are insufficient. By this, maybe there you notice a publication and you see that the publication is not up to standard, that it lacks enough theoretical knowledge that, okay, if you want to work, you must have a theoretical background of what you want to do, not that you just enter lab and start working. Okay, so that's one of the gaps that you can feel. We also have methodology gap. If that comes in play, if the method that was used in an existing research work was not up to, you may suggest you might work on that type of work in order to improve the method. Use another method. If they are using, for example, in DNA analysis, and you saw that what they use in analyzing the extracting DNA was conventional method. For your research, you might improve, maybe because of the conventional method they use, the result they got was not up to standard, or they did not get result. So you might use another way, which is non-conventional, through the application of kits. So that means you have filled the gap of them using a method that was not up to or standard. They give results. The other one is an evidence gap. This area is where the available evidence is either contradictory or lacking quality. There are some work out there that you see that they are not good quality. So you can work on that and make it to have a sound quality. And we also have practical gaps. This is where your practical knowledge comes in play. Area where the gaps between theory and practice is long. All you just see in the work is theory. You can chip in practicals to it so that it can be explained, like people that will read the work can have a full knowledge of it. So the other one we are discussing is the knowledge gap. This areas exist. Can you see my slide, please? Hello, please.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Knowledge gap is this area where existing research is insufficient or incomplete. For example, where they made conclusion, what they highlighted is not of full knowledge. Like a ordinary person cannot understand it. So you can come and play in doing that. And population gaps is also is another type of research gap that we have. Here maybe, for example, I have a case study here that on literature, I could only see that they analyze COVID-19 only in US. The knowledge, it has not been analyzed in Nigeria. So the result they got there, you can also use it to fill up the gaps in different locations. And we have conceptual gaps, of course, when there is lack of clarity on arguments on definition. Maybe there's lack of clarity on some works or any definition. So also these gaps arise due to low understanding in knowledge. So you can also choose if that type of gap you want to fill. So for this time, I will be moving straight to the section 2, which is the structure of thesis. And I hope with a little illustration I've made, we understand what thesis is all about, and we have understand what your research gaps is all about, and types of gaps that we have. I just spoke that thesis is a comprehensive document that you use that you are to submit as an undergraduate to be certified as a degree owner. So, and it's different from what? It's different from you submitting an assignment to your supervisor, a seminar report to anyone. So it should be comprehensive. And I told you that I've illustrated that before you pick a research project, you must do what? Identify what? A research gap. So if you don't have a research gap that you identify and you just venture into an project, what you are doing is totally rubbish, because you are not adding any knowledge to your community. So you are just speaking on the normal knowledge that is existing. So the reason why you are doing a research is for you to bring something new, to tell people that, okay, this is what they have been doing before. You need to do what? Incorporate more knowledge to what they know already about it. And if some gaps are not up to, if some gaps are based on knowledge, like the knowledge on this research is low, you can chip in more things that will make them to understand what you are actually doing. So on the second section, I'll be briefly talking about the structure of thesis, how as thesis should be structured. This is just the typical structure of thesis. We have the first five. Okay, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The first is as sub-bodies of thesis. Those ones does not really count if you want to know for example, if your supervisor should say the body of your work should be 40 pages, you are not going to count those from title to list of abbreviation. When the accounting starts from the body, which is the chapter 1. So this is just the typical structure of how your thesis should be written, like the format. You start with the title page, then followed by the abstract, followed by the acknowledgement section, the table of contents, the list of tables and figures, the list of abbreviation. Then you move to the body of the work itself, which is chapter 1. Chapter 2, chapter 1, which is the introduction. Chapter 2, which is the literature review. Chapter 3, which is the methodology. 4, which is the results. And 5, which is the discussion. And 6, conclusion, then reference and appendices. So just this basic structure of how a complete thesis should look like. So follow me as we venture to the chapter 3, which I'm just going to pick one, and I'm going to open the floor to my other co-hosts, because we have someone else that will be talking about the literature review, about the methodology, the results, and the likes. But for today, we usually be talking briefly on that chapter 1, which is what we should know. And that has been us to the last section for today, which is section 3, chapter 1, and how it should be structured. So what is chapter 1? Some questions when I was saying undergraduate, we hear people say, I submitted my chapter 1 to my supervisor. I submitted chapter 1 to chapter 3. So that chapter 1, what is actually that chapter 1 that I'm talking about? Chapter 1 is actually introduction about what you want to do, about to research for. That is what is called chapter 1. So if you're starting to say, okay, get me a chapter 2, you know he's not talking about he's not talking about introduction. He's talking about something else. Get me chapter 4. It's different from what? Introduction. So by knowledge now, you should know that chapter 1 is what? The introduction part of your work. Chapter 1 of thesis, often titled Introduction, serves as the foundation for the entire research work. Yes, so that's where the body, the work starting from. Other sub-bodies are relevant, but the main body of the work, anybody that wants to see your work now, maybe after reading your abstract, the next thing is going to do is also move straight to chapter 1. Some person does not read, after reading abstract, some read the acknowledgement and the like, but the main body is what starting from chapter 1. So chapter 1 of any thesis is just the introduction, which starts at the foundation of the research work. It provides this necessary context.
Mr. Benson,
Can you hear me?
What is this box that is covering the face of your screen?
I don't know, like if I think is
I think you should remove it completely.
if I remove it, you want to take it out. Can you see it now?
No, it will not.
Okay. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes,
Can you
better.
see there? Okay. Thank
Better.
you. I thought I'm the only one saying it. I don't know if people are saying it. But I'm the only one. So chapter 1 is just your introduction, as I said, which serve as a foundation for the entire research work that you want to do. It provides the necessary context and the background, introduce the research problem, outlines the objective, and establish the significance and scope of your study. So all those components that I just listed now are going to be under your are going to be under your chapter 1. Essentially, it is the state that starts for the beginning. That's why I said after reading your abstract, if I should take your work now after reading the abstract, my next focus should be your introduction. I want you to introduce me to the work itself, the body of the work. So, okay, I can't just jump to your chapter 2 and start reading. I can't just jump to your methodology and start. I need to know what you actually think about. I need to know. So that's why chapter 1 is very essential. So here is the breakdown of the components that should be in chapter 1. So chapter 1. What is inside chapter 1? Well, the first is the background of study. So the next is the statement of problem of study. The next is the objective of the study. The next is research question, hypothesis, the significance of your research study, the scope, the limitation, and the definition of terms. All this should be listed just the same way I listed. So it's not that you're going to start with limitation of study first. No, you start with background of study, followed by the statement of the followed by the statement of the problem of the study, then the objectives, the aims and objectives, the research questions, and the significance of your study to woman. So we will be breaking down those components one by one after the other. The first, which is the body. Here in this section, we are going to list and discuss the context of your research in a broad way. So you're going to write a lot, so many stories, like so many information regarding your research. To explain why this study is important to we, the reader. I'm going to explain it in this background of study, and you are going to tell us briefly the relevance of these theories to we, the reader. Then the next one is the statement of problem. This is where your research gaps comes in play. You're going to clearly state the problem that your research addresses. So that's why I said earlier that if you want to start a research, you must do what you must know what you want to address. Like which area are you addressing? Is it that you are building on the existing knowledge, or you just want to write what the person someone else has written before? A true research should be that you are improving what is already existing. So that's why you need to have the knowledge that okay, before I do anything, I must know the gap that I want to fill. So at the section of statement of problem, that's why you're going to talk about the research gap. You're going to talk about why the problem is more important to us. You're going to state the problem and your research can address this problem that is stated to us. So I have an example here that I'm going to read up, which is okay, let me get it this way. I have a statement of problem here that I just want to use an example. Please just follow me as I read. Despite efforts, hear the word. Despite effort, that means there was effort. There was a literature backing that action already. Despite effort to promote family planning, despite effort, that means the person, me as a researcher, I have checked online, I have seen that okay, there are information that's back up about family planning. Now, there is limited understanding of the specific barrier. Underline that word. There is limited understanding of the specific barrier on the utilization of family planning in rural area in Nigeria. So I have come up with a research problem. Like, okay, I've come up with an existing research, but now I got a gap that okay, this research does not feel the knowledge that these people are required to know. So that's why I'm coming in play to do what? To work more so that they will understand the barrier that's involved in this research. So, and that's the relevance of you knowing a gap before doing any work. The next on the list is the objective of study. Here, you're just going to state, I'm going to state the overall goal of your research. And you're going to list the aims and the objectives. This is where you're going to list the aims and objectives of your research work. The next is the research questions and hypotheses. You present key questions that the research seeks to answer. If applicable, state the hypothesis that is tested. At this point, you are going to give out some research questions that are your own. It's the same, it's you that is giving out these questions. It's the same your own work that is going to answer them. Is that they are true or false? So the next is the significance of study. This explains the importance of research. It discusses the potential and contribution to the field. Here, you also discuss the potential and contribution of this study to this field, theoretically or practically. That means you are going to do what? You are going to discuss them. And you also highlight who will benefit from this research work. The scope of study, there you clearly define what your study covers and what it does not. You also mention the specific areas of the topic that are excluded. If the topic is existing before, but you need to do what you need to mention those areas of the topic that are excluded. The next one is the limitation of study. Here you discuss the limitations that might affect your work. Maybe it was because your money was not enough, or the fee that they said you should pay in the lab as for work. Maybe the fee they said you should pay is too much. So we discuss maybe due to there's no light in your area, your organisms were contaminated, or all the limitations that you feel. Okay, maybe the precise method that you should use was not what you use. You tell us the reason why all those things come in play. And you clearly state there are some keys that you use. There are some key words that you're going to state after you have done everything. So for this time, I hope I've been able to highlight a bit to you on how you can structure your thesis, what chapter 1 is, and how to identify research gaps and the various types of research gaps that we have, and the relevance of research gap. What research gaps helps us to do. I said it earlier that it does what? It helps us to frame our observation, hypothesis, and questions, and how we can also the ways in which we can identify those gaps is through literature, through using these frameworks, and also you are consulting your supervisor, because your supervisor is more has more knowledge than you. So you can also always use your supervisor. If you feel that literature is not really working for you and you're not really getting the knowledge that you actually need to know. I spoke about what the different types of research gap that we have. Is your own? Is it that you want to work on the methods is it that you want to improve on the method that was already existing for a particular journal, or you want to add more knowledge to the journal? So you choose the type of gap that is relevant for your research work. And I also spoke about this, I also spoke about how we can structure our thesis. This is the best way for you to structure. This is the format for structuring thesis. You don't start from references. You start from title of page down to references. So this is the format for doing that. And I've shed a little light on the chapter 1 and how you will structure. Chapter 1 is basically your introduction, and under the chapter 1, you have all this embedded in it. Before I open the floor for any questions, I forgot to mention that for your write-up, there is what we call citation. And I think one of our co-stars will be talking more on that. You start your citation from chapter 1. Yeah, because all this information I've gotten online, you don't coin them from your head. So you must give credit to the source. So by that, you start your citation from the body of the work, which is what we use in this chapter 1. At this point, you start it from the background of study because you are getting this information online and you giving them credit. You're starting those, you got those information online, so you need to cite them. And it is not everything here that you have to cite. You cite background of study, you don't cite the statement of problem. Objectives too, you don't cite. Research questions, you don't cite. Significance of study, you cite them. You cite that section. The scope of study, you cite also, and the limitation, you don't cite because it is that limitation that you see when you were working. So you don't have to cite. The objective, you don't have to cite because it is your own personal objective of study. So you don't have to cite all those sections. So I also, with this, I have come to conclusion in concluding this part for today, and I hope you've been able to learn one or two from my own section. Yeah, I think I should open the floor to peace now to all. If you have a question, please just unmute yourself so you can speak. Over to you, please. Over to me to stay away.
Please, is there any question for Mr. Benson? Blessing, do you have any question for him?
Questions can come from the tutors, participants. If there's anything you think.
Tutor, fellow tutors, and Mr. Blessing, please, do you have any question for him?
Yes, concern. You said we should cite scope of study.
No.
Okay, so just to confirm me.
No. Just cite that one.
Okay.
Oh, Mr. Oloshoke, can you please, do we cite? We don't cite scope of study. Is that?
In the absence of any question presently, I want the next person, like the next tutor, to just brush through some areas in their own introduction so that we can also have an idea of how it looks like in the management aspect. So it's not going to be too comprehensive. And I know the participants are going to learn one or two things from their field because most of their work is using they make use of data. And it might look like it's not really in the same field as STEM, but then there are some softwares, data analysis they do that will be relevant. And let that tutor just come ahead. I have questions, but
Le-
after the whole session, that is when I'm going to ask.
Okay, please let's welcome Blessing Atta on stage to take us on the management aspect. Blessing, are you here?
Well, yes, I'm here. Good afternoon, everybody.
Okay, good afternoon. So hold on first, please. Let me just read your biography. Atta Ibuku obtained a BSc in Business Administration from the Federal University of Technology, Akure. She works on project research and thesis in management courses for undergraduate and master's students. Currently, she works as a corporate banker at Globus Bank Limited. She is very passionate about teaching and impacting the lives of young minds. So, Blessing, you have the stage. Please, can you carry on?
All right, I will. Thank you so much for that. I want to share my screen now.
All right.
Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Thank you. So, good afternoon, everybody. As earlier said, my name is Atta Ibuku, a graduate of FUTA, and I'm pleased to be here to at least explore the thesis writing for undergraduate students for management. As earlier said by Mr. Benson, I actually went through his slide and I saw that one thing about management is just that we are kind of different and we manage our things very well. So our own chapter 1 for research is quite different for what I've been seeing so far from our presenters. One student asked if we are to cite scope of study, if I'm right. And Mr. Bessie said no. Yes, it's actually true. We don't cite scope of study. I think I'll be starting from there. Our own scope of study actually includes the location of where you're making your research. I'm talking about management study now, so it might be totally different from what Mr. Bessie said. But for management aspect, which is 1.7 of chapter 1, our scope of study basically includes the place or the location you are doing your research, the name of the place, the details or the data of those that you want to interview or those that you want to give questionnaires. Basically, that is what is in our whole group of study, basically. And so for our introduction, chapter 1 of management research is just something very simple. And before you can say you want to start a thesis for management students, you need to think about what are the relevant studies or what are the relevant industry trends that we have in Nigeria or probably worldwide. And you need to think through and look at some of the researchers' past theses or past research. If you want to know a relevant study that you want to actually embark on or write on, this one is even a general thing. I think Benson has said that before. You have to go through some past research related to your own study and check their conclusion. What did they conclude on? Check their recommendation and check their. There's something we call recommendation. They will recommend some things, so you can actually work on their recommendation. Okay, this person did this, but she did not cover this, or he did not cover this, so I can actually work on this. So that's how you can work on relevant study. So you select a relevant topic. Which topic do you want to work on? Which topic is related to or suited to your own problem, or probably your community problem, or probably your country's problem? So you work on that. And our chapter 1, we have 1.1 to probably 1.8 or 1.9, depending on your supervisor. For 1.1, we have background to the study. And basically, this entails everything you want to know, the context of what you want to study, of your research. So if, for instance, you are researching on economic condition and COVID-19 effects, let's use that topic, COVID-19 effect on economic condition in Nigeria. You have to tell us what COVID-19 is all about, what are the effects of that on economic condition in Nigeria so far. Just tell us something about it in brief. This can be just like 2 to 3 pages, depending on how you can write things. And one thing is that before you start, you have to, I think all of that presenters have said that, you have to go through other people's research, download them, then work on them. So you can take a piece of background of study from this specific person's PDF, take another one from this person's PDF, join it together, you are good to go for your background study. So background study is just for you to tell us everything about your topic that you chose. Tell us about COVID-19, what happened, how it came up. That is what we call background to the study. And then 1.2 is statement of problem. And normal, before you say you want to start a research, definitely you want to really solve a problem. So definitely there must be a problem that actually suffice. So you have to tell us, okay, fine, this is the recent problem that we have in this particular area, and I really want to solve it, or I really want to research on it so that we can conclude and make recommendations on it. So you tell us what the problem is. Problem can basically be just 1 page or 2 page, depending on what you have. Tell us what the problem of the study is and some other things we need to know. And then 1.3 is our research questions. Before you say you want to do research, you must have a research question. So you have to sit down and think, what is this? COVID-19 economic condition. What are the questions you need to bring up for this? Probably you want to know what are the effects of so and so COVID-19 or so and so company. You can say, because economic condition is actually something very broad. So you can say you want to know the effect of COVID-19 on supermarket sales, or probably you want to know the effect of COVID-19 on government, whatever. So you have to sit down and think through. Every research topic must have a variable under them. I don't know if other people have said it before. COVID-19, what are the variables under it? Economic conditions, what are the variables under it? Economic condition can be probably situation of the country, probably inflation, probably economic growth. What are the factors that actually warrant economic conditions? So that's things that you're going to have to consider to bring up your research questions. And then 1.4, we have research objective. It's very simple. Your question, let's say for instance, your question is, what are the effects of COVID-19 on supermarkets in Edo State? So your objective will now be examine the effect. Just put some adjective now, the adverb to these things. So you want to a verb rather. You want to examine, or you want to investigate, or you want to expatiate, or you want to just give it one word. That's how you can convert your research question to just research objective. So if your research question is, what are the effects? You can say objective will now be, if examine the effect of so and so. So that's how it's actually done in management level. And then we have research hypothesis. So if you want to write a research hypothesis, we have what we call null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. I don't know if they have said this before, but I wouldn't want to go deeper about it. So you just have to tell us that since your question or your objective is you want to examine the effect of COVID-19 in the activities of supermarkets in Edo State, your hypothesis will now be, you have to change that to COVID-19 does not significantly affect the activities of supermarkets in Edo State. So what you are putting there as hypothesis is that you are trying to know if it affects it or not. So your null hypothesis will always be in negative side, while your alternative hypothesis will always be in positive side. So your HO is a symbol for null hypothesis. It's kind of broad, but I'll just try to summarize it. HO is what we call null hypothesis, and it's always been negative. So you can say your HO is equals to COVID-19 does not significantly affect the activities of supermarkets in Edo State. That's why I'm going to write your hypothesis. Then we have significance of the study. This one is just for you to tell us how that study is important to Nigeria, or how that study is important to US, or anything at all. Just tell us the potential contribution or the potential importance of that study to what you want to do. And we also have 1.7 scope of study. As I said earlier, tell us the location, tell us the population, tell us the area. That's what we call scope of study. And the time frame, probably you want to do this in 2016. That's when you're carrying this research out, or 2024. Give us that data in scope of study, and you don't need to cite anything. But the remaining ones, background to the study, statement of problem, and that's all for chapter 1. That's the only place you are going to cite. Other ones you are not citing. That ones are coming from your own head. So you have to think and bring something out. Then for your operational definition of terms. So if there are some big terms you actually wrote in your background to the study or statement of problem, you have to define it for us using dictionary definition, or using Google definition, or using Wikipedia definition. So if you are giving us big English that a layman cannot know, So just list them out and divide it in 1.8. That's what we do for our chapter 1. Are we clear on that before I go to chapter 2?
I think we are just going to be talking on chapter 1 today, which is quite having some information that are different from what Mr. Benson discussed, like the null hypothesis and null hypothesis and the other hypothesis. So which is quite different. I know that if you have done statistic, that is blessing. You should do statistic in either 300 level, which of course I know you have heard of null. You said what?
Yes, start to 4 and one chemistry courses like that.
Yeah. So it's obvious that you will have heard of null hypothesis or
Yes,
the other hypothesis, which of course you coming up with hypothesis in your research is like there is like an established, it is not a law. You get now a law is something that it's bound to remain. Like let's say the law is that for day and night, for the day the sun must shine, and the night the moon must show. So that is a law, like natural law. But then you want to hypothesize that, today is Monday. The sun is not going to come out. It is going to be a warm day without the sun. Now you can hypothesize that something is going to actually happen, or something is going to cause that sun not to come out. So you can now say that hypothesis or that thing you have predicted, like hypothesis, like a prediction of what you expect to happen. So it could be null or it could not be null. They call it null, or I can't remember the second name. Who can remind me? Null hypothesis and alternative. Yes. So if you say null and then HO, and if you say alternate H1, now you can either refute it or you accept it, depending. Now, most of the time, alternate is talking about opposite of what you mean. But then you can see refute it or accept it, depending on how you are structuring the hypothesis. That is going to determine the kind of hypothesis you are putting it under, whether it is null or alternate. So thank you for that information. And I know there are other things that she did not mention that is going to be mentioned in the other classes. So while Mr. Benson has given us an overview of a thesis introduction while Mr. Benson has given us an overview of a thesis introduction for the STEM School of Sciences, it's good that we have been able to get one or two things, especially for the participants here, because I think most of the participants, they are flexing. I don't know why they didn't join today, only Mr. Blessing. I think we have like 4 of them. Only Mr. Blessing is serious with his thesis. Of course, it's good. And like we all know, we are not going to be going back to this again. So whatever we have done today, they only have the privilege of getting the video to this class, but I just hope they are going to get whatever we have discussed today. So my question for Mr. Benson. Now, I was looking at your slide and you said limitation of research. And at the same time, I also saw you writing research gap. So I want you to like break it down. If you are saying limitation of research, is it not the same thing as research gap? Is there any difference, or what do you mean by limitation? Let me put it that way. You get now?
Okay.
Because there is an aspect where you say statement of problem, research gap. Like I said the other time, I said on introduction, the research gap is not always comprehensive because you have limited words to express in the introduction. But then the literature review is when you can you can talk about what happened in 1930. Nobody wants to know. But then you come up with a sequential story that is going to lead to, oh, that is why you have come up with this statement of problem in your introduction. Now, those information in your literature is going to give us history of what you have done, what has been done rather, and history of how they has done it to result into why you say this is the current accepted facts about a case study. Now, after you've given us idea of what the fact is, that means the next thing is you are trying to introduce us to a problem that has not been addressed in that area of study or that area of focus. And you now come up with your statement of problem. And like I said, most of undergraduate research are always repetitive work. That is why you see really most undergraduate work are not publishable because they don't do work that is adding new information or new knowledge. They only do a repetitive work based on already known knowledge, like repeating it, which I don't know why I want to use microbiology most of the time. Isolate. We all know that when you isolate from spoiled food, you get social microorganisms. When you isolate from the environment, what are you now using the isolated microorganism to do? Are you just characterizing them? You want to know gram-positive? No, that is not the research. Now you have to do like a comprehensive new analysis to that. You can decide to say, oh, people have done sequencing of microorganisms gotten from.
So that's where the limitation comes in.
That's
where the limitation of your study comes in play. If you don't have the finance, the money to further it, so that's where it comes in play. So research gaps is different from limitation of study. You get so the limitation of study are things that you experience when you are taking on the research work. You get, but research gap are things that you've known already based on literature review. That okay, the existing information, I need to work on this to improve the existing knowledge on this work. You get?
Yeah, definitely. That's true. So I'm just curious why you're putting that in the introduction, because I used to know that limitation comes at the end of works. Okay. But then limitation for a work that you have not started will only sound abstract for people. Like you have not done the work, you don't know what you are going to face, except you want to say, oh, in the case or in the aspect of you sourcing for, let's say, writing the introduction, you discover limitations like how to walk around getting documents and all that to write your introduction. So that could be a kind of scholarly kind of limitation, not knowledge limitation now. You get what I'm saying? So in that aspect, I think I get what you're saying now. So another question is introduction. Like we all know, for undergraduates in Nigeria is limited with information. That is much comprehensive. That is why they will tell you if you are going to be writing an introduction, you should write something that is going to captivate the mind of anyone reading it. Now, one thing we always fail to know is before you even write your abstract of your research, that means you have done the whole research. So you cannot come up with an abstract without a refined introduction, method, result, discussion, limitation, or recommendation, and all that. So you have to conduct the whole research before you come up with the abstract. So now, the drive at which you use to write your introduction is going to determine how you are going to progress into writing or doing every other aspect of your research, which I believe this introduction has given you idea or the knowledge about. Now, when you listen to what Mr. Benson said, is a bit different from what Miss Blessing said. Blessing. So you can see the synchronization in the name. But then there is a little difference in the aspect of management. and there's a little difference in the aspect of STEM. But then all the same, they have a kind of similar focus, similar goal, which obviously for all Nigerian universities, that is those ones that conduct research at undergraduate level. Like Mr. Benson said, some schools, they don't write research, they don't do research. They just sort for papers online, compile 2-3 things. It's not like they are doing review. Pack paper, give it to their supervisor, go and battle it. So it's all different. That is why you see several students not having an idea of how to go about writing. And then it's going to maybe affect in the long run. But then because of opportunities like this, you know how to structure research, how to go about writing it, and how to prepare, input your intake citation, which I think one of the tutor is going to be taking us on that later on. So that is all about the introduction. I don't know if there is any other question, addition from the tutors, subtraction, multiplication, division, etc., etc. So is there any other question from Blessing? Is there any question from Mr. Bayo, Mr. Emmanuel, Mrs. Bola, Miss Bola? Oh, sorry, my apology. Miss Peace, Miss Salimat, Mr. Tokbe, Mr. Christopher. Any question, any comment, anything you think you want to know about, but pertaining your research yourself. Mr. Tokwe, you are using chat box. Please unmute yourself. We don't want to read. We want to hear. Stop typing,
So you
please.
said something about information about research. You said something I just forgot. But you can, okay, is there any funding for a research work? I can.
Who is looking for funding at undergraduate level? Who is looking for funding?
I saw some posts on LinkedIn recently. I think there's 2 posts I saw for undergraduates.
Yes,
yeah,
currently,
I think this man in Ibadan, this man lab in Ibadan, what's his name? Is it Elogene? What's his name?
Biology. No, Ellis Biology.
Yeah, I think he chipped in some scholarship, probably some funding for undergraduate research.
Okay, yes. Which is actually good. I think the scholarship for undergraduate presently that I know of personally is the UNESCO ICB, but then they are not active online, but then they have not released the result of the last scholarship. So we don't know what's going on yet. Get now. So that is the only thing I know about. So Mr. Dr. drop a comment in the chat box in reference to Mr. B.Khrease. This is not my name, obviously. In reference to Mr. B.Khrease statement, although the approach may be similar, the results may not be. For instance, the same method may have been used to isolate microbiome before, but previous research may not have worked on that particular sample or sample area. This uniqueness can make the work publishable if it is standardized. Obviously, he said if it is standardized. Now, the question is, are most undergraduate students work standardized? Now, the motivation behind undergraduate doing their research also determine how much or how well they are going to conduct the analysis. Many times, students are not of the opinion of them doing the research. They have idea or they want to do, like I said the last meeting. Students get to do research that they are given. And when you are given a research that is not in your own interest, you are just going to do what you want to do so you can graduate. And in that sense, you have not just lost the sense of purpose for your life in terms of research. You have lost the sense of purpose for motivation as a researcher. Because at that instance, you are not doing something that really motivates you. And you are not going to see the long-term benefit of what you are doing if you are not able to come up with something that is reasonable. And even if it's a small research that you are doing in your own space, maybe based on available resources, based on available knowledge, based on fund and all that, limitations like that, you are still going to be able to like look at your research in such a way that what's the future prospect of what I'm doing now? How can I write a CV? How can I prepare SOP, motivation letter that is going to capture the essence of what I'm doing now, even if I did not do comprehensive analysis whatsoever in my research? So that is the way you come up with the research that whoever is going to see it in future will not say, oh, you have not done something reasonable, even while you are limited with resources and all that. So that is my own addition to what Mr. Tokwe have said, which obviously is true. Like he said, if you do not standardize, it is not publishable. You get what I'm saying? So you just isolate, do gram staining. After gram staining, you do not do something that whoever is going to look at you will say, you have done something very good. So any other question, any other comments? Miss Peace, our moderator is not active. I don't know why. Why will our moderator not be active? This is a space that moderator should be controlling. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. A moderator controls how things are done. I don't know why she's mute. Okay, Mr. Blessing, is there any question regarding introduction you want to ask? Because I know there is something you want to ask. So unmute yourself and ask the question now. Is there anything you are facing regarding the introduction? Because while you are trying to combine your lab work, I know you will need to also write some aspects of your thesis which you are not asking. How do you balance your thesis writing with your research? You should be asking that. How do you get to work out your research in the lab and then start compiling your data together so you will not lose track of what you are doing and what you should have done or what you should be doing. So that is going to help you to know how to plan what you want to do in the lab and know how you complement it by writing what you have done so you won't forget some things you did. Those are the things you should ask, but you are not asking. So you have the floor. I'm not the one who is going to answer it, obviously. So we have tutors there. We have Mr. Benson, which is tutor of the day. So he's going to be responding to your comments, your questions, and all that. Query.
Actually, the place I'm having issue with currently is my methodology and maybe data analysis for now. So you have not reached the stage yet. That's why I'm still limited.
Okay, methodology. So you are good with introduction?
Yes, to some extent. So my experience has not checked it though. And it's
Okay.
known that the way they instruct us is that we write all the chapter, we're gonna finish all the reports, print it out, submit, now make corrections. So that's just, let's say it's taking it chapter by chapter now. I think you should have made correction on that chapter one, but you said no, even seminar report, same thing. You can't finish all the reports, submit it, but you make corrections.
No problem. That's good. Anyways, Miss Bola, you're a microbiologist. You are in our midst. You are welcome to this meeting today. Thank you for joining us. Miss Salimat, she has gone. Mr. Tokwe, thank you for joining us tutor for 4th Saturday. Who is going to be taking next week? I think it is Mr. Emmanuel, right? Mr.
Yes,
Emmanuel.
boss.
Okay.
Yes, boss.
That means you are going to be coming up next week to discuss about literature review, obviously. And then you are going to be giving us back to back how to compile literature review, how to search for literature review papers, and how to do all that. So in the absence of any question, I don't know if there is any other question. I want to call it a wrap. Thank you for joining us. Even if our moderator is just there, she's not taking her job, and I'm doing everything. Thank you for joining us. God bless you. See you next Saturday. Bye-bye.